I cannot believe I didn't do this. Hey there, welcome back. I just went backpacking a couple weekends ago in northern Michigan and I made some big mistakes and I wanted to share them with you guys in hopes that on your next backpacking trip you don't make the same mistakes that I did. The first mistake is pretty small but still important nonetheless, and that is that I completely forgot to pack a bag for garbage. Anytime that you backpack or recreate in the outdoors in any way, you should always pack out what you pack in. Thankfully, I still had a gallon-sized Ziploc bag that I had used to store all my food and organize it in my pack, so I was able to use that for a garbage. The second mistake that I made was that I forgot to test out some of my items before we left, namely my camp stove. I have had my camp stove for years and it has held on through a lot. But it can be finicky sometimes. It has a light on it, and sometimes that light comes loose, it doesn't work, and I didn't test it out beforehand. It wasn't working, and I almost couldn't use my backpacking stove for a hot second. It's always a good idea to test out products before you bring them on your backpacking trip, because it may lead you to need to bring other items or not bring other items, depending on how your stuff is working. That leads me to my third mistake, and that was that I didn't bring any matches. Honestly, that is dumb. I should bring matches no matter what and keep them in my first aid essentials bag. But I knew I wasn't going to be starting a fire, and I knew my backpacking stove had the lighter on it. However, due to my lack of testing out my camp stove ahead of time, I didn't realize that my lighter was not working well. And for a minute while I was trying to start dinner, I thought that the stove may not work, but thankfully the stove started working and everything was fine. However, had I just brought matches with me, I wouldn't have even been freaked out for the 5 minutes that I was freaked out for. And lastly, my most crucial mistake that I made was that I completely forgot to clean my water filter. I cannot believe I didn't do this. I have a Sawyer squeeze and I've had it for years and I love it. It's one of the best filters I think that's out there for price point and for efficiency. And I, for some reason, packed it away last year without even cleaning it before I packed it away for the winter, so first mistake there. And then when I brought it back out, I didn't clean it again. Thankfully, I always keep iodine tablets in my first aid essentials bag, and my camp stove was working so I could boil water. However, this lack of normalcy that I have while backpacking led me to not consume as much water as I normally would because it didn't taste as good as it usually does when I have my Sawyer squeeze. This mistake could have been much more crucial had we been on a longer backpacking trip, but thankfully we were just doing a quick one night hike in, hike out the next day. Luckily, none of these mistakes resulted in anything serious, no one was injured, we were all just kind of discomforted in some way, shape, or form. I had to be a little creative when looking at different ways, like using the gallon Ziploc bag for trash. Let me know down below any mistakes that you guys have made that you've learned from. Let me know if this video helped you think of anything you need to do before your next backpacking trip. And don't forget to subscribe to see the next video. Thanks guys, bye.